So, I was thinking of what to do this weekend, and in this United States cabinet drawer, I have accrued over the last couple of years an unknown folder that is filled with the stamps that I was unable to identify in the past. Let's see if I can figure out what they are. Yeah, I suspect that I'll be able to make fairly quick work of some of this. Oh, there's actually a few things in here. Okay. So immediately, this one, can rule this out. This isn't a stamp. This is an airmail label. So that explains why I couldn't figure out what it was in the catalog, because it's not in there as far as I know. This is just an airmail label, and so it just indicates something is airmail. There's really not a whole lot more to it. This thing actually is not in particularly good shape anyways. So what to do with this? I might throw this in my grab box or something. I really have no desire to keep this, but that was something that apparently I totally struggled with in the past. Thinking, what is that? Sometimes, it's been a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years now, that I've been going into this hobby pretty hard, and yeah, at the beginning I just had no idea for certain things like this one. I don't exactly know where this is from immediately. Some of you might be able to just go, oh, I know that one. But yeah, I struggled with this apparently in the past, and I have no doubt that with my current knowledge base and tools and all that stuff, that I'll be able to figure out what that guy is. I'm gonna make it real simple and easy for me first. I'm gonna try with the stamp identifier app with these to begin with, and we'll see if that is sufficient to simply identify all these. Okay, well, so having come across similar items to this in the last year, I can say that this is not a stamp, so that would explain me struggling to find it. Again, this is, let's see, what's it say? Schaub Lip Ministerium. Well, this is just probably a seal for some ministerium. I'll look this up, see if I can get a little information on this, but this is not technically a stamp. I say German? With a question mark. So, yeah, these are neat, and I have had a couple of these from German places, I think, and you know, they'll just be like a seal of a town or something like that, an emblem. You know, maybe this would be on a legal document or something like that. So anyways, this is kind of an oddball item, and not really a stamp, so that immediately picked away at those, the airmail label and that thing. Those aren't even stamps. Let's see what this is. This one was one that I struggled with, apparently. This says, let me see here. Correos. Okay, Correos. Correos, I think is how you say it. So, something Spanish, or Latino, or whatever. I'll see about figuring that out. Wow, these actually look kind of cool. There's definitely older portraits here. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that this is Israel. Let's go like that. That looks like Israel to me. I'll verify. Oh, look at that. That's neat. An old imperforate. That's Queen Victoria, if I'm not mistaken. And, ooh, nasty hinge. God, I hate those hinges. I hate it when people use those. Interesting cutout. You know, from looking at this thing, considering the paper, this was probably a pre-printed. I bet you this is a pre-printed. I don't know if it. The paper's a little flimsy. I wouldn't quite say this is a postcard. cutout, but a pre-printed envelope. So I can understand why that would have been hard for me to figure out earlier on. Oh, gross again, man. You can see the writing on the back. Oh, this one's definitely harder. This one might have actually been a postcard, but interesting cutout. Pretty cool looking, nice ornate older design. Both of those are neat. So I'll have to see if I can figure those out. Those, even now, I am not particularly sure that these are going to be easy. I think I'm going to have to do a bit of work to try and figure those out, potentially. So, yeah, we'll see. I just wanted to run through all of them with you so you guys can see, and then I'll talk about them after I've figured out what I can. What is going on here? Man, these are cool. I haven't looked in this folder for so long. Rep O del Uruguay. It's 5 centésimos. It's embossed. It's a raised design. That's portrait. That's pretty cool. Interesting. So this is a cut square, is what rings out to me. This is just like U.S. cut squares. This is probably a cut square from Uruguay. So this would be similar to probably this guy, a pre-printed envelope. That's pretty neat. As I think about it, this might be hard for me because this might require a specialty album. I don't have a Uruguay specialized catalog, not album, sorry. So I'm not sure that I'll actually be able to figure this one out, but I know what it is. I feel like I know what it is. So anyway, set that aside. Look at Uruguay again. Yeah, this is a imperforate. This is, I think, the same thing, just a cut square. Publica Oriental del Uruguay. Oh, cool. I've come across some of that kind of stuff. So 2 cut squares from Uruguay. What the heck is this? Uruguay again. Is it ripped? Oh, big nasty rip. What a shame. Another cut square. 2 cent Publica Oriental del Uruguay. Well, neat. Little angel boy. Another cut square. So, man, I have no recollection of these. I wonder when I came across these cut squares of Uruguay. What the heck? I don't really know much about Uruguay at all, to be honest. It reminds me of Paraguay, and I don't know anything about Paraguay either. So, yeah, this is interesting that I have these. I can definitely understand why I couldn't figure them out. I still, as I say right now, I don't think that I am gonna have the catalog necessary for this. Now, maybe if I go, I mean, the question is, how hard do I want to try? I mean, if I go, spending hours delving through forums and searching all of my online stamp resource websites for old catalogs for Uruguay that might have this back of book stamped envelope cut out, in it. I mean, I still don't even know if I'm gonna really knuckle down and try that hard. I kind of know what they are, and my guts tell me that they're not particularly, valuable, is most likely the scenario. Talking about cut squares, we were talking about, the margins around them, how big are the margins. Like, this isn't bad. It's actually not bad, that guy. They could probably be better. This guy's actually pretty good margins, except for the right side, but I'm not familiar with this, so maybe it's that close to the side of the envelope, but I mean, it has decent margins, especially the left, and it even looks like it cut off whatever would have been another design. This guy's worthless probably because it has a big giant tear. I mean, that thing's ruined. And this one just doesn't, none of this stuff screams valuable to me. But as well, no, this isn't about, finding $1 million stamp. That'd be nice. But, yeah, I'm weighing out in my head, are these actually worth all of the time and effort it would take to identify them? I don't know. Well, let me. I'll make an attempt, and but yeah, I don't want to spend like my whole Saturday trying to figure out some Uruguay cut squares here, but we'll see what I can come up with. And so I think the final, yeah, the last thing in this folder, it must go like that. What the heck is that? Well, it's got like the crescent moon with a circle in it. Off the top of my head, does it go like that? No. Maybe the crescent moon symbol always makes me think turkey. But isn't turkey like a crescent moon with a star? Or I forget. Anyways, we'll see what I can come up with that. So that's interesting. A nice little spread of random stuff. Now, let me actually start with this one here and see if I can figure out what it is. Okie dokie. Well, that was really easy. Thank you, Stamp Identifier app. This is Nepal and series Siva Mahadeva. Says Scott numbers 39. Now this actually is a green stamp, so this isn't the exact one, so I pulled it up in the catalog anyways just to check it. But 1935 era. So interesting. So Nepal. So that was really easy. Now I pulled this up in the catalog here, and it says there's a couple of variations of this which I'm going to show you in the catalog. Okay, so here we are. Nepal. It's in the Himalaya mountains between India and Tibet. Okie dokie. And so yeah, here's number one, you know, and so I was looking in here, and there's two that look like it could be it. This and this. Now, let's look at this one first. This is pretty much the design. As I'm looking at it, I guess it's a bunch of sand dunes with their god or something, Siva. And, what does it say? Oh, I didn't read this. Type A3 has 5 characters in the bottom panel. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have way more than 5 characters. Interesting. Huh. The outer panels carry the denom. Okay. Well, oh, by the way, you'll note this being 13.5 perf on European wove paper. Then there's this. It's the same type. It's redrawn. 9 characters in the bottom panel per 14 or 14.5. Well, let me count my characters. Okay, I have 9 characters. So, that's probably that. Oh, wow, interesting. Oh, boy. I didn't know that this was going to get so deep here. Oh, look, there's another one. Oh, my God. Okay. There we go. Why Nepal? Okay, so really, I'm going to have to deal with several options. So, is it this one? No, because I have 9 characters, so it must not be that original. So we're going to skip right over to, what's this say, by the way? Sorry, I keep going back and forth. So it doesn't say C numbers or anything like that. Interesting. Usually it would say, hey, check, other variations, but it doesn't. And that was an A3. And so anyway, we're here at A5, 9 characters in the bottom panel. Okay, well, I have that. And now here's the thing is, I checked the perfs already, and they are 13.5, which had me thinking it was the original one, but now that I know that it can have 9 characters, which mine does, so it's not the A3. This being A5 has to be 14 or 14 and a half perf. It's not that. It was a perfect 13 and a half perf. So let's just scroll down. These are redrawn. Date in lower corners, read 1992. Well, I can't actually read the date because it's in their language, but here's my clue here, 14. So it must not be that. And then I guess they redrew that type again. And our perfs don't have 13 and a half either. So I'll keep going, and I didn't expect this. I didn't even notice this originally, but apparently I must have an A6. Oh, sorry, an A9 design here from 49 because my perfs are 13 and a half. Interesting that it offers a compound 13 and a half, which I do believe would be 13 and a half horizontal and then 14 vertical, or just plain 13 and a half or 14. Well, let me check the vertical perfs real quick. Here I go with my handy dandy US Precision Specialty Multi-Gauge. God, I love this thing so much. This perf gauge is amazing. I always talking about this millimeter gauge. But man, these perfs. Oh, this thing is great. Okay, so what were we saying? Or actually, here, let me show you, just so you can see. We'll do, I already checked this, but the 13 and a half perfs first. I mean, look at that. Absolutely perfect. I mean, perfect. So yeah, that's where I'm sold on it being 13 and a half. And if you check 14, I mean, you can tell it starts to go off on the right side. I don't know how well you can tell, but 13 and a half is absolutely perfect. So let's see here. What was the compound? Was 13 and a half by 14. Okay, let's check this thing if it's a 14. It doesn't look perfect. They start to go off on the edge here. This right side, they're not perfect. Check 13 and a half. Oops. I want to be very precise. They're not absolutely perfect, I don't think. It's kind of hard with the camera in my face. Wow, they're not perfect. Hold on, let me try this 14 again. Maybe I wasn't doing a good enough job here. Okay, dang it, 13 and a half and 14 are both really close. Oh boy, I wish that this was a little bit simpler for me here. I'm just going back, and yeah, I mean 13 and a half. I'm utterly confident that the horizontal perfs are 13 and a half. I'm looking at the other perfs in the catalog just to see what other options it could even be. 14 and a half? Let's try that. Not even close. So, yeah, 14, 11, 11 and a half, 12, 11 and a half. I mean, I think that what I'm running into is, I mean, not even close, That, you know, sometimes there can be, like, that's pretty frickin' spot on, but it's just not absolutely perfect. Like, it's a little bit off on these three on the very end. Just a smidge off. You know, this is a US Precision multi-gauge, and I suppose that, you know, this is where stamp collecting just gets so freaking deep. You know, a 13.5 perf on an old U.S. stamp may not be exactly spot on to a 13.5 perf on a Nepalesian. How do you say this? Nepalesian on a Nepal stamp. I mean, it is so close, and man, the 14 is just, I don't know. It might be better. I might be calling this a 14. So anyway, guys, this is really minor, but I actually think that the 14 is a little bit better. I'm going to go with the 14. Yikes. Okay, so that's my best, through my best efforts, I'm going with 13.5 horizontal and 14 vertical. Okay, so back to the catalog. Okay, so, where was I? Okay, here. Alright, so if we're saying it's a 13.5 by 14, then, you know, the problem that I'm running into still is I don't even know what the denomination is on this thing. So what would I say this color is? I don't know, like a dark purple, kind of? Yeah, right, dark purpley. So let's see what the colors are. Brown, green, Rose Peak, vermilion. Rose Lake has potential. Carmine has potential. Red, orange, ultramarine. I don't think it's any of those. So I'm torn between Carmine, Rose Lake. I just thought it would be the Rose Pink, but anyways, here's what I'm going to do is we're going to Google this. So this is Nepal. Let's check number 55 first. And see if we can find... Oh yeah, interesting. Okay, so they're like Nepal 55, different design. What does 55 say? It says it's an A7. What's an A7 look like? Okay, the Temple of Krishna, so it's not that. Yeah, we need an A9 design, but that's only red orange. Oh crap. Well, okay, well it could still be an A5 design. That's not even listed here. Oh dear Lord. Yikes. So so those are all A5s. And A6 is this stupa, whatever that is. So, dear Lord. A9, A8, A7, or A6. It's definitely not the red orange. A8. I mean, it's definitely not an A8 design. A7. Not A7 or A6. What the heck? Oh my god. Okay, so, then the only one in this list that it could even be is this guy, and it's definitely not. Christ. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick and try and figure out what I can here. Holy freaking crap, you guys. So I just probably spent 10 minutes searching around, really thinking about this, because I would be a little bit embarrassed if I wasn't able to figure this out. I think I have. Now, I think it's a number 33, which means that it isn't a 13.5 perf. It must be a 14 perf. Gosh. Okay, now, here's kind of a step through what I went through. In my head, I was just re-questioning everything. I'm like, okay, I mean, it just simply can't be this because it has 5 characters on the bottom. So I have to rule that out. I was thinking maybe it could be this 16 violet, because I ended up thinking what's really annoying is I can't figure out what the stamp says in the bottom corners, so I went and looked up a sheet of numbers for Nepal, okay, and was able to look at the first single digits and determine that the bottom left corner of the stamp, the first number is this, number 1. I have that little squiggle, and nothing else looks quite like it, so I have it says 1, and then it has basically a backwards 3, which the only one that even looks like that is 6, right there. So I was thinking that the bottom left corner must say 16. So when I look here, this is pretty much what it says in the bottom left corner. So I was thinking, okay, that's probably the denomination, and so right here in this corner is where you'll see that, and I think that it says 16. Well, so that's what had me thinking maybe it was this 16 violet, and it is kind of purpley, and I thought, okay, that could be, but no, because it has 9 characters on the bottom of the border. So it just simply couldn't be that. So in my head I'm like, okay, I just have to give up here because this cannot be it. So that means that we're moving on to, it simply has to be in here or one of these. Well, as we've already gone through, it can't be any of those designs except for A9, and it's definitely not red-orange. Now, it's hard for me to accept because I'm coming out with a 13.5 perf measurement, but the only option is red-orange, and it's clearly not a red-orange. So, plus the 1R, I have 16 in the bottom left, so I don't think that that was the denomination. So we can rule out this, and we can rule out this. So that means it has to be somewhere in here. And I felt that way because I went skipping through the catalog looking to see if there were any other designs. Nope, that's it. So our stamp must be here. Okay, of these, let's just see if we can get it by color. As I go, it's not dark brown, it's not this, dark red violet. Okay, I thought it could be that. That sounds about right for our color. Now you notice down here, there's also a dark red violet. And in here, there really isn't anything that falls within that. So I had a suspicion that it must be either 41 or 33. Now I wasn't that confident when I was thinking about all that. That's kind of sound confident about it right now, but those were my thoughts. Like, I really think of all the colors listed that dark red violet is our color. So the first one that I actually went for was 41. I googled Nepal stamp number 41, and wouldn't you know it, this looks exactly like our stamp, except the numerals in the bottom corners don't match. Frustrating. What the heck? So yeah, I went looking around. Actually, I was here first. I went to some hip stamp listing and was looking, and this guy listed 38 to 43, right? So 41, and again, our numeral just doesn't match. So I ended up Googling Nepal stamp number 33 is where I ended up. And let's see, I clicked on, I think it was one of these. I can't remember what I clicked on. I don't think it was that. I can't remember what I clicked on. Oh no, I ended up looking around in here. I'm getting confused. Anyways, well, I googled the Nepal stamp number 33 and ended up finding a listing on Hip Stamp for Nepal number 30 to 35, and I felt good about it because it's, guess what, sold by the APS stamp store, which is pretty credible. And wouldn't you know it, there's our freaking stamp. So, sorry for jumping around, but this one definitely was a ringer for me. Had me really thinking, what is going on here? But I'm confident in an APS listing. They know what they're doing, probably, and it has the proper numerals. So, going back to the catalog, we must have a number 33. That's 16, which absolutely works out with the numerals I had looked up for Nepal, and it's the right color. So, the only problem is, why aren't the perfs matching up on my perf gauge? Well, let me take a look at it one more time here. Okie doke, so 14 or 14 and a half. Okay, I mean, I'm going to be frank, it doesn't perfectly line up with 14. Now let's try 14 and a half. I mean, it just doesn't line up. That's even worse. So, it must be a 14 perf. But, with this gauge, the truth is, they don't line up perfectly. Mother of God. So, that's annoying. But, through the process of elimination and my searching, I am not 100% confident, because I really want those perfs to match up on that perf gauge for me perfectly, and they're just a little bit off, but I feel confident because of the process of elimination. I mean, this has to be it. That says 16 in the bottom left corner. And of the possible stamps in the catalog there, this is the only one that is left. So, my freaking goodness, guys. Alright, so we're going to call this a number 33 from Nepal. From 1930, and we're going to say that it's perf 14. It's dark red violet. It's a 16 denomination. Has the $3 catalog value used. And that's it. So, holy crap, spent way more time on this than I ever expected I would. I thought this was going to be a whole lot easier. What really threw me around, that was really messing me up, is that that perf gauge not lining up with these perfs. But it just rings some kind of bell with me that, perf measurements, when you say like perf 13 and a half, or let's say perf 14, I have read or heard somewhere through my studies in this hobby that there can be slight variations in perf from throughout time, from country to country. When we're saying a 14 perf, it's not just some absolutely 100% rock solid thing where it's uniform throughout every different country, all throughout time, and every stamp. That there can be slight variations. So, I think what's going on here is, over in Nepal, a 14 perf is just the smallest whisker different than the 14 perfs on my US specialty multi-gauge. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like that has to be the case. So, holy crap, what a pain in the butt. But, yeah, I probably just spent, let me look at the clock here. I spent over 20 minutes. This is probably a 30-minute adventure that I've spent on this first stamp. Go figure. So this video is going to be long. But yeah, that was totally unexpected and definitely had me running around like, what the heck? This doesn't make sense. Very frustrating. But we got it. I'm going with 33. If any of you guys have any advice or you think differently or anything like that, feel free to chime in the comments below. But with the best of my efforts, that is what I'm going with. All right, guys, on to the next stamp. Alright, moving on. This will be our next stamp. I'm going to try with the identifier app first. Okay, so they give me several choices here of what this may be. In real life, I don't know how it looks through the camera, but from looking through this app, the one that it looks like the most is probably this guy. This one is an option. It's pretty bright pink on my phone compared to this, but that looks closer, so let's choose that. I knew it. It was Israel. So it says it's 1948 issue, definitive, typography, coins. Okay. I kind of knew that. I've seen this one before, and though I can't read it, I kind of just know it's Israel just from the look of those characters. So anyways, let me go into the catalog. Now this one's saying no Scott number, but I know 1948, so let me go look into the catalog, see if I can figure it out. Okie dokie, so we've made it to our catalog, and right here at the start of Israel is this first kind of ancient Judean coin design. So that's a likely candidate from 1948, I think that says. And so anyways, there's some other variations, and it could be rouletted. And so as we skip over here, here's a very similar design. So this one has options or possibilities as well. Now, as you look at both of these designs, you'll notice the letters on the side of the stamp next to the coin, and this one doesn't have any. So it's probably not this design here. It's looking a little closer to the other because of these letters. So yeah, my stamp just doesn't have those. Now I wanted to kind of compare the two, and yeah, that was it. I'm gonna be safe though, and I want to check at the bottom here to see, just to be sure, because we like to be sure. I'm going to run through these numbers at the bottom of this section. It says, it has all these listed stamps, and then it's going to also talk about, issue date and all that stuff, but it does at the bottom say, see these numbers. Now, even though I don't think it's this design, I just want to go through them just to be safe. So we're going to go through these numbers and take a look. Now the first one is 38 to 43, and it's a coin type of 49 redrawn. And so anyways, ours is a 10 red violet, and I didn't see the color, so I'm going to look at these next numbers. Is there a 10 red violet for that stamp? A 58 through 61, nope, there's not even a 10, and so it's not that. And we're going to go skip to the final section of numbers that it possibly could be, 81 or 80 through 83. There's no 10 there either. Anyways, it's none of these redrawn types. It's not this guy, even though that has a 10, it's the wrong color. That doesn't have a 10. So anyways, we're going to just rule all those out, and it must be this A1 design. So let's zoom in here and take a look, and there we have a number 3, 10 M, and what is M? Mills, red violet from 1948. I think that that's our stamp, and I like to see a visual of these just because, just to be extra sure. So I'm actually going to bother to search for it in Google and just look at an image of it just to make sure that the image matches what I think it might be. And I shouldn't really have to do this, but this is something that I just like to do. Just because they don't have a visual in the catalog there, so I want to kind of see just a visual of it. And here you go, here's an example that looks like a guy got number 3. That's the right color. Another thing you can do that I like to do is go to Hipstamp and search for the stamp, just to use this as an alternative to Google. There you go, there's our guy. It looks great. I mean, it looks like our stamp. I'm happy with that. And yeah, it was kind of unnecessary, but I just wanted a visual just to corroborate, what I'm thinking in my head. And so we're going with a 1948 number 3 here with an A1 design that's red violet and 10 mils. So anyways, has a 25-cent catalog value, so minimal cat. Pretty common stamp overall, and that pretty much does it for checking out this stamp. I'm pretty confident in it being number 3. Pretty straightforward, and actually I thought this might be a little harder for some reason. I thought there was more variations, but I guess not. That was it. Of these ancient Judean coin stamps, we've got ourselves a nice little number 3. You know what, actually, hold on. Before we move on, I just want to mention, because I am familiar with these somewhat, if you're a stamp collector, you may already know, or for those of you who don't know, this set of Judean coin stamps with tabs makes it a much more valuable set. Now, check this out. Now, mint specifically, right? But check this out. If you have numbers 7 through 9 with tabs, we're talking about the selvage on the bottom of the stamp. They'll have a little selvage with a little inscription, kind of like this stuff here. So you'll have the stamp and a separate selvage attached to it at the bottom with some inscriptions. Look at the value of that guy, $52.50, and that's just for numbers 7 through 9, mint with tabs. How about that? Isn't that crazy? Even here, look, numbers 1 through 6, mint with tabs, 200 cat value. Wow, pretty good. And then if you have a hinge set with tabs, 85. So there you go. Hinges, of course, smashing our catalog value. And again, just to reiterate from past videos, most of you may know, but yeah, the catalog value, not a real world value. So you probably sell for 10-15% of this value. So this would actually make it a $20-$25 set of stamps that you could realistically actually just sell it for on the internet or to somebody. But that $52.50 there, I mean, heck, if you guys have any of your collections and you ever come across this coin type Israel stamp with the tabs, see and check the catalog, because if you've got these, like this whole set together, what's it say here? It's valuable. So what's it say? Numbers 1 through 9, they exist in perforate. Single set, $3,000. My God, check this out. So if you have a whole tab set of 1 through 9 mint, $13,000 catalog value. Pretty amazing. So wow, that's just one of those kind of sets to look out for. Without the tabs, they're not nearly as valuable, especially when they're used or hinged. Okay, so next up, let's check out this seal, because it has piqued my interest, and I'm curious what we can come up with. Clearly, that's some kind of emblem, and it seems German to me, so let's Google Schaumburg Ministerium and see what we can learn about this here thing. Okay, so I hopped into Wikipedia, and here's our guy, the Principality of, well, I didn't know how to say it right, so I hopped over to a pronunciation website. Let's take a listen to what it's supposed to be.
Schaumburg-Lippe.
Schaumburg-Lippe. So I definitely would have butchered that. Anyways, I wanted to read this little bit right here. So Schaumburg-Lippe, also Lippe-Schaumburg, was created as a county in 1647, became a principality in 1807, a free state in 1918, and was until 1946 a small state in Germany. Located in the present-day state of Lower Saxony, with its capital at, I don't know how to say that, Buchberg, I'm going to guess, Buchberg, and an area of 131 square miles and over 40,000 inhabitants. And it has an interesting little history that you could read about if you wanted to pause. But yeah, that was what I was expecting, was some kind of place. And anyway, so look, here's their coat of arms. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what's on our stamp there. Now, That is interesting, right? Now, I wanted to share what else I had found. So, I was trying to find the stamp here, or whatever it is, and I ended up typing seal, I think. Yep. And look at this one. This one says document stamps. Okay. So I went to this website, and you can see there's our guy, probably. Oh, no. One of these. Anyways, it looks really similar, right? So they were selling this lot for 125. For some reason, when you go to the website, it doesn't show the pictures again, but they were saying that it was an assortment of document stamps used on various documents from the Principality of Schaumburg-Lippe. So they're unique and of varying color and sizes. Interesting. So, anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at. I guess you could call it a document stamp, and they're used on various documents. Okay, so yeah, I haven't gone much further than that to look into what they may be, or I mean, whatever. I guess oops, that's the same one. They could be used for kind of whatever you wanted to use them for on a document in that principality. So, anyways, this is another one of those things where I just don't think that it's incredibly valuable or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, these guys are selling a whole lot of these for $125. This entire lot, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 of them. So maybe they're worth $10 a document stamp. And maybe if you had the catalog, you could go in and find these and find maybe there's an actual number for them or any of that. I don't know. But I do know that I had a feeling that they were just from that place and used on some kind of, documents. And that's pretty much all that I really know about it. And, this is Schaumburg-Lippe. There's a whole bunch of this style of document stamp, I guess, if that's really what they're called, for different counties all throughout Germany and stuff. And I have other ones too. And I have one of these from, I think, California in the U.S. And so this kind of stuff was used around, for, I think, legal documents. And so they're interesting, they're neat. And that was pretty much the short story on these. I'm not going to go looking in for much deeper for more information about them. I pretty much have a good enough understanding of what it is, and no, it's not going to be in my Scott catalog. So this is kind of an oddball niche of collecting that I'm sure there's people out there that have a whole collection of these kinds of things, and I don't really specifically go for them, but I find them interesting and neat, and I do like them. They're just unique, and overall it's nice to have, but I don't really know what I'll do with it, to be frank. I might slip it into my Germany folder or something and just kind of leave it in there, and that'll be it. So anyways, that was that stamp. Okie dokie. So next up, this guy. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Obviously some kind of Middle Eastern Arabic writing on it, something like that. This is obviously a souvenir sheet, and 4 of these stamps printed on there. Let's try the identifier app. I don't know if that'll work out or not, but it might. Let's check first. Okay, so the identifier app seemed to work well. Give me a nice selection here, and this looks like our guy. It's a 10 denomination, brownish, reddish, brown color, let's say. So that looks about right. That one does look perforated. Jesus Christ, shut up, Facebook. Stupid ads. Okay, so this is Reza Shah Pahlavi, the Pahlavi crown. Okay, he, I guess, lived from 1878 to 1944. It's Iran. Oh man, I tell you what, this app is the best. Once again, for those of you who don't know, this is the Colnect, COLNECT stamp identifier app. Fantastic tool. Okay, so this is the series of the 60th birthday of Reza Shah Pahlavi. Let's see. It has SN there, so Scott number IR870B. Now, I'm not sure this will be our exact stamp because you'll notice the picture is actually perforated. Ours is imperforate. And I bet you, interesting that it says IR, it's probably Internal Revenue. So this is probably a revenue stamp. 870B, so it's B probably indicates some sort of variation. Anyways, so it's Iranian and potentially a revenue stamp from about 1938. So this has overall been extremely helpful and informative to begin with. So let me hop into the catalog, see if I can find this guy. Okay, well I went to Iran to start and then skip to the back, so basically you go to Iraq. So here's the very end of Iran, and I figured I would backtrack trying to find it. If it was a revenue stamp, it should be back here, I would imagine. And I didn't see it at all. So what did we say? About 1938. So these are officials. Didn't see it. Airmail, semi-postals. It'd be about right here if it was airmail. It's not. And then we get back into regular, definitives and commemoratives. So, anyways, it wasn't at the back. So I'm going to go right back to the beginning and start moving forward and just go ahead and skip to about 38 or so and see if I can find the design somewhere on here. 39. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there's our guy. Reza Shah Pahlavi. And, now we've got a 10, which is brown, 10D, which is brown, whatever D is, but 10 brown, okay, 870B, okay. Well, that's that goes in line with the app. Now let's see here. I'm looking for extra information. So there's the whole set. So it does say what the app says: 60th birthday, printed in sheets of 4. Perf 13 and imperf. So we have here a sheet of 4 that's imperforate. They go on to talk about the 1R being violet, 2R orange, not available. Okay. Perf 13 says value for the perf 13 unused was 45 each. Perforate was 35% more. Okay. Interesting. So the imperforate is more valuable. Value of sheets, including the 1R and 2R, are more. Okay, so anyways, that's not us. So really what we've got here is a sheet of the 870B issue that is imperforate. And that's that. Let me see here. Yeah, see this whole 35% more, the 1R violet and 2R orange were not available to the public. Okay. Value perf 13 unused, 45 each. Perf 30. So we have a sheet that's imperforate. So it should be 35% more than, I guess, $45 unused. Boy, can I do this? I'm not the math whiz. So if we did 45 times 30.35, that's 1575 plus 45, so $60, 61-ish. So we can pretty much say $60. Because we have an imperforate sheet, is, according to this, what it would be worth in unused condition. Interesting. So, let's look at this and think if it's really worth $60. Cat, no, because look at this has been creased multiple times. There's a bunch of little creases. And well, you guys can see kind of throughout the center, the bottom right corner there. Yeah, those big nasty creases definitely screw with the value. So overall pretty cool. You can even see the creases on the front. You can see kind of damage there. So this thing is, while it may not be used, this is not going to command full value. And like we were saying, if it has a $60 catalog value, it's probably worth 10% of that, so $6. But this thing has been creased several times and has a bunch of imperfections, so this is probably worth $1. You know, maybe even less. I don't know, but let's just say this whole this thing's worth $1. So, is that even? Can you get a double cheeseburger anymore? Or a cheeseburger at McDonald's for $1 even? Ain't worth nothing. So anyway, that's just to speak on the value. But overall, it is a cool imperforate old sheet. And yeah, it didn't have its own listing in the Scott catalog. You had to find the stamp and then read the information at the bottom of the listings to determine what this was probably worth. And so yeah, we have an Iran sheet of 4 imperforate from 1939 according to the cat, and probably worth about $1. And it would have been number 870B as that guy. So anyways, that was neat. Now you guys, I think that at this point I'm gonna call it a day on this video. I don't want it to go way too long, and there would be honestly just so much more to do to get into all these other stamps that I have other stuff to do, laundry, you know, whatnot. I need to take care of other stuff today, and so I think I'll just break this apart in 2 pieces, and what we're gonna do is finish it up next time. So appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and that was fun. I will say that it went a little smoother than I thought it would on some, and a little harder than I thought it would on others. I actually thought this might give me a little bit more trouble than it did, but it all worked out well. These guys are cool. I'm going to put this in my cabinet, and this Nepal stamp that goes right into the cabinet as well. And then these two, the airmail label and the Israel stamp, I'm just going to toss them in my grab box. I don't really have any desire to keep either of these. I have a bunch of airmail labels already, and the Israel stamp is super common. It has like a little bit of perf damage at the bottom, and yeah, it's nothing particularly special, so I don't mind tossing it into my grab bags. But yeah, we're left with a whole slew of Uruguay cut squares to try and figure out next time. Ugh. And then we have those cut squares, I guess, of, I'm going to guess, something British, and 2 leftover randoms to try and figure out. So that's going to be next time, and I'm going to keep these all in a little baggie just so that I don't lose track of them or anything. And I don't know if it'll be next week or the week after, but I would like to go through and make some effort and try and figure those out. Like I was saying before, I don't have a whole lot of faith that I'll be able to truly identify all of those cut squares from Uruguay. But maybe we can at least figure a little bit of information out, and maybe do a little bit of learning or something. So this will be the next video for this, and I don't think I'll need to do more than 2 videos to kind of finish this off. And this is cool, a nice little folder of unknown stuff. I can absolutely understand why I struggled a year or 2 ago when I wasn't as good at this to figure out what any of these were, and I didn't have the stamp identifier app at that time either. So man, that thing is just so useful. It's absurd. I thought I was brilliant when I made a video about using Google Translate to try and read stamps and stuff that you can't understand, but that stamp identifier app, man, that cuts down so much dilly-dallying around trying to figure things out. That thing is worth every penny, which is 0 pennies, because it's free. How freaking convenient is that? Man, that thing is great. I'm interested to see in the future where technology takes us, where as this hobby keeps getting more and more digitized and spread throughout the internet, new tools will be created. It's just going to streamline, things to make it easier for everybody to try and figure out and identify what they've got. And, I do like a good hunt and search sometimes. But not all the time. I mean, without using that app, could I have figured out what these are? Yeah, I'm sure. But it would just taken a lot of effort and more time. Life's short. I like to streamline things if possible, and I'm all about convenience. I mean, why not have an amazing tool? Use whatever tools you have at your disposal to make things as easy as possible. And it just takes a lot of the guesswork out. That's just a wonderful thing to start with. If the stamp identifier app doesn't work, the next step for me is probably to just get into searching on Google and forums and just work your way through it, try to identify what's the language, who's the guy on the stamp. I mean, any of that, it can be done. It just takes a bit of effort. I would be, like, for this guy, I'd be doing like totally random searches, like Middle Eastern stamps, and I'd try to find some images that have similar writing on them or characters, and go and figure out what language those characters are. And I'd be like, oh, maybe eventually I'd figure out it's Iran, and then I could go into the catalog into Iran and start running through, figuring out if I can find the picture, the image. Another kind of tip, I mean, generally when they have stuff like this, you can kind of assume that this guy was somebody important, an official, the president, I mean, something like that. Important people get put on stamps, right? So I'd be like, if I figured out it was Iran, and I'd say, let me look for the president of Iran, and then I'd find a picture, and I go, now I know it's the stamp of the president of Iran, or that's kind of this, you guys know, you collectors out there, but, the stamp identifier app just makes things so freaking easy. It's unbelievable. But I guarantee that it wouldn't have certain things like this. It's just not going to have this random documentary stamp in there. I didn't try it, to be honest, but I don't have a lot of faith that it would work for this. And a simple Google search worked out just fine anyways. So, yeah, this has been educational, fun. Now I need to download this video, edit it, release it to you guys, and carry on with the rest of my day. And I hope you guys enjoyed this search and whatnot. I found it very fun. And, while I was messing around with this precision multi-gauge, I have never, I swear to God, I don't know what it is with me. I still haven't taken a good enough amount of time to really sit down and learn and understand every tool that's on this. But when I was messing around trying to measure those perfs on that Nepal stamp, I don't know if you guys are even going to be able to see it. Look what I found on here, right there. It's a flat plate rotary press tool. What the heck? I mean, I just went through all this effort to make my own, right, that I did a video on recently for flat plate rotary tool, yada yada. Did a couple videos on that recently, and right here on this gauge is a tool for it. How awesome is that? And it's a little square, and you just put it over your stamp, and it has a little border that you line up with the design, and it says place the frame design of the stamp at left line, a little border in the square, to determine if it's a horizontal rotary press or a top line vertical rotary press. It says if either edge of design touches or exceeds the heavy line, which I don't know if you guys can really see that or not, but yeah, the bold line there. So you line it up here in the corner with that little corner line, and if it exceeds the bold line, if either edge of design touches or exceeds heavy line. It was printed using the rotary press method, and if not touching the heavy bar, it is a flat plate issue. My God, this tool has everything. Has everything. And as I look at it, now I haven't gotten into this at all, but there's grills, right? A whole thing of grills. So if you needed to, boy, this is probably the wrong way to do this, but yeah, all these little squares, these are all different grill designs, so you can match up your grills. Bunch of different dots for other stuff that I am not familiar with yet. You'll notice this here, this is the 10-cent like Washington stamp, which is like US number 2, right? First was Franklin and Washington. And I recently learned that I think that the number 1 US, the Franklin, was for up to 300 miles for like a 1-ounce first class letter or whatever. And the reason that they did the second issue of the Washington, the 10-cent, was to carry it a longer distance. So yeah, the Franklin carried you 300 miles, but the Washington took you if you needed to go further, so you'd pay more money. And that was the first 2 stamps in the US. And anyways, it has this wonderful design on here. So if you actually had a 10-cent or whatever, versus I guess different issues, you can just slap this right on top of your stamp to help you identify what probably design it has, blah blah blah. I don't really know, but I mean clearly that's a 10-cent. That looks like a 10-cent Washington stamp design right there. And so there's just another neat tool. And this one, by the way, diameter in millimeters. It looks like a target. So I guess you can slap your stamp in the center, you slap it in the center of your stamp or whatever, and it gives you 10, 20, 30, 40 millimeters, so you can take the diameter in millimeters. How many tools have they put on this thing? Look at another millimeter gauge runs across the whole bottom length of this tool, and they have other for bureau issues. I mean, goodness graciousness. Liberty issues, 1954, little dots here, probably to help you identify the different, whatever, you can't see it, there you go, to identify the different Liberty issues. And it's a small hole 10 or a large hole 10. I mean, this thing, I haven't even gotten into these center, whatever these are. It looks like a bunch of different stamp design stuff. So this tool is just unbelievable. I mean, I know that it's like a $20 or something tool, maybe 25, whatever. Worth every single penny, you guys. So, I'm always boasting about how great this tool is, and it just never ceases to amaze me. So anyways, yeah, they're on eBay, they're around, pick it up. It's just so worthwhile. Now, holy crap, it gives you on the back instructions for how to do all the different stuff. So how to use it, which I should probably read for God's sake, but I'm done for today. I'm kind of tired. So, best tool ever. It's kind of a shame that those perfs on that tool just wouldn't work out for this Nepal stamp. That had me running around a little bit, so yeah, I just wanted to chat about that. I mean, I have read in forums in the past that there's somewhere that you know, it's just not written in stone, like perfs can vary. So I don't know which countries are notorious for having perfs that are different from other countries' perfs. I don't have a whole lot of information. I've just heard that at some point that is a thing. And maybe my U.S. Precision Specialty multi-gauge perfs, you know, just don't work for this Nepal stamp. I could try a different perf gauge, I suppose. I have another one. Actually, I have 2 more I could try, but what's it matter? I'm pretty confident that we figured out that's number 33, that Nepal stamp. So, I'm just going to move on with my life, but that was interesting to see in real time and go through myself. That apparently it's 14 Perf. When I line up the 13.5 perf on that gauge, it was perfect. It looked perfect on those horizontal perfs. So anyways, that was it. Hope you enjoyed this search, and I actually did. I'm excited to make the next video. There's actually a part of me that quite liked that, and I kind of wish that I had a bunch more stuff in this unknown folder. But that was everything I've accrued for the last couple of years that I struggled with, and I tried, and I said, screw it, I'm going to put it in the folder. Like, I don't know what the heck it is. I'll try again later. And so, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you like my videos, please support me, like and subscribe. It helps my channel out. I appreciate it. If you guys have any comments, leave them in the comments section down below. It's always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.